My name is Lizzie and I am 19 years old, and I spent the majority of this year in full-time travel ministry. I served mainly in media, but helped with plenty of other things along the way. To help you better understand my journey in being in full-time ministry, I will be answering some questions you guys had. Question 1. Why did you decide to pursue and get into full-time ministry? At the beginning of 2023, I spent a time in prayer. I received a word from God that kind of made me feel that I was led to go into full-time ministry. And during this time, I had been seeing other people that I followed online that they were also doing that. For some reason, I felt really drawn to it. And so whenever I heard God, I just felt confirmation like this is what it's going to be. So that is the main reason why I decided to pursue it. How did I get into it? EJM, Eddie James Ministries, came down to Arkansas in April of last year of 2023. We started going to their services every Friday, to their worship nights. With that, I just felt super drawn to them. And at this time, I had already committed to go to another discipleship training school in California. I just had this constant back and forth. Like, I already paid the tuition. I already did all the things that made it seem that I was gonna go to this other school, but for some reason I don't feel peace about it. So finally, by the end of the year, I took down my application to the other school and I quit my job. I just kept trying to find a way for me to get into this ministry with Eddie James. Me and my sisters were actually doing this internship program with them, taking instrument lessons. You guys actually saw a lot of those vlogs. And so during that time, I was getting really close with some of the people on the team, getting to meet new people, making new friendships and all that stuff. And then finally in January, literally it took from about September of last year to January to finally joining the team, just because it was a lot of different things that seemed to keep going wrong. But honestly, I believe that I joined at the right time, which was January 9th. And from there, I was just with them, traveling around and doing all that stuff. That is why I decided to pursue it, because I received word from God. And finally, the opportunity arose, and EJM was just where God wanted me to be. And how I got into it, I shared a little bit of that story. And another reason why I really wanted to join this ministry, and really any ministry, and do full-time ministry, was because I wanted to be discipled. I wanted to be trained. I really just wanted to be part of what the Lord was doing. And I was just tired of missing out. The word that God gave to me at the beginning, that I was talking about when I was praying, He said that this is the year that will spark the beginning of a new revival. And He also said that you will be on the front lines of this revival. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. But after being with the ministry, ministering firsthand up front, seeing lives changed on behalf of what God was doing through our ministry, confirmed to me again like this was purely from the Lord. And so yeah, that is why I decided to join the ministry. And how, on to the next. Question 2. What's your plan after finishing the full-time ministry? And do you have any backup plans? Actually, when this question was given and when I asked y'all to give me these questions, I was still actively in the ministry. But what y'all don't know now is that I'm not in the ministry anymore for several reasons. Nothing bad, but I've been home for a couple weeks now. I didn't have a plan when that question was asked. I could say I have a couple ideas, but I haven't been actively pursuing that just because I've been lazy and procrastinating. It's been hard, okay? Like, literally coming back home, I was so excited. I was like, I have so many plans. I have so many ideas. Like, I'm gonna go, start working towards my dreams and my goals and everything that I've been wanting to do for like my whole life, honestly. But as soon as I got back home, like, I got right back into that cycle of being complacent and like lazy and procrastinating and like not doing anything good with my time. I've always struggled my whole life with that, like lack of work ethic, really bad time management, like literally all throughout school and all that stuff, like leaving assignments for last minute and stuff like that. So actually, have been praying and have been asking God to just help me in that area. And today was one of those days where like I truly felt the conviction, like, Lizzie, you have to start doing something with your life, like you can't continue doing this, And actually today I saw a video, I'll actually link it, put the screenshot or whatever, a video I saw today. And basically this dude was saying that laziness is a sin because it's almost like you feel entitled, or you feel that God is going to give you a time later on, like you feel arrogance in that area. I forgot how he said it specifically, but I'll put it up so that you truly catch what he said.
The reason laziness and procrastination are sins are because they're the arrogant assumption that God is going to give you another time to do what you need to do.
Once I heard that, I was like, I've never heard laziness being put in that way. God has been telling me, Lizzie, do this, do this, do this. And I'm like, no, I'll do it another time. But the Bible literally says, like, tomorrow is not promised, and that we should not boast about tomorrow, but say, if God is willing. I really got convicted. It was just like, I just got punched in the gut. I was just like, this is gut wrenching, but so needed, like, to hear, because I've been struggling with that my whole life, and like, I'm just tired of it. Literally, I've broken down so many times in my room, like, just praying and crying out to God, like, I can't keep on like acting like this. Like, I need to change something about the way that I've been acting, like, just asking God, like, where is the root of this? I actually was praying that the other day. I was praying like, God, what is the root of this, and why is it that I've been struggling with this my whole life? Like, being really bad with work and getting things done. I would say that I'm like a dreamer. Like, I have a lot of ideas, lots of things I want to accomplish, yet no like work ethic, no actual striving to get them done. So right now, I actually have been working on, just continuing with my content creation. As y'all know, or if you don't, like, creating videos and stuff like this has always been my passion since I was a little girl. So I just have been wanting to work towards that and truly like be serious with it and dedicate my time being out of the ministry to that, and just being better at being on top of my game, like actually doing something, for once. That's my plan. Continuing making videos, obviously seeking God more and more. I've been studying Ezekiel. I've truly been going in depth with my Bible studies, truly seeking God, praying, and all that stuff. So now that I'm out of the ministry, I really do want to continue those dreams and those plans that I've had before even joining the ministry. So even when I left the day before, I was telling everyone who asked me, like, Lizzie, what are you gonna do now? Like, what are your plans? I would not have been able to tell you before, but now I'm like, I truly want to build a space where I can go and edit videos, create videos. Like, I've been having a dream of making like a recording studio since I was young. Like, my whole life I've been wanting to do this. Continue getting in my word and asking God to reveal things to me so that I can share them with you guys. I really just want to continue making more Christian content because that's, where my heart is at. I do love making videos centered around my life, but honestly, I want to create stuff that actually has meaning, has depth to it, and will impact lives of the people that watch them. That is actually a little bit of my plan and where I've been now that I'm out of the ministry. Now on to question number 3. Question 3. In what way do you see it beneficial, and what's your purpose from doing so? Being in full-time ministry was beneficial to me because first, in the practical, it taught me to be disciplined, to manage my time wisely, to learn how to work as a team, learn to be patient, and a number of other things, because I don't think I mentioned it. While I was on the team, I worked mainly in the media team, so all things media, that's what I was doing. So in that area, it taught me a lot about time management. If there's a task to be done, do it. I will say it wasn't all that easy. I failed a lot of times, probably more than I didn't. It did teach me a lot about being very dedicated to why I was there. But also in the spiritual, it taught me to be disciplined in my prayer, being in my word, and worshiping. I will say that my desire for God and those things have grown tremendously after being with the team, observing how everyone else around me was and grabbing on to that, living by their example. These people are on fire for the Lord, have incredible knowledge of the word, know how to pray, know how to love others. Like, I want to be like that. So I definitely learned a lot, even from my team members and my leaders. In that way, I've seen that it's been beneficial to me. I will say that from when I joined to now that I'm out of the team, I have grown tremendously spiritually because God has elevated me so much since I started. For example, one thing that I was always so scared for was during services when we had to do altar call and we had to go pray for people. So Pastor Eddie, our leader, would release the team, like, all right guys, go pray for the people that come up. Starting off, I was terrified because I'm like, I don't know how to pray for people. Like, I know how to pray, but like ministering to someone and hearing God and giving them words of knowledge, like, that's just something I did not know how to do. And as time went on, those gifts in me started being activated, and through the help of people around me and just from the word, God truly started working in that area in me. And by the end of it, I would be like, God, who are you going to take me to today? Who am I going to pray for? Who are you leading me to? And my purpose with being in the ministry was, like I said earlier, I really wanted to be discipled. I really wanted to be trained. I really wanted to be around a group of people my age that were so on fire for God, that were seeking God, that wanted more of God. I just wanted to be on the front lines like God had told me that I would be, to minister up front of people, to see lives changed in front of me, to see miracles, signs, and wonders, and just see salvation, seeing people come to the altar for the first time, and especially seeing the youth. We went to several youth conferences after coming back from South Africa. There was one service that we had that it was literally I'd say 5 to 12 or something. That was the age group that we were speaking to and ministering to. Me and someone else were led to minister deliverance on this girl. By the end of it, I start talking to her, just start showing her the love of Jesus. And I ask her, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 12. And I literally, after I finished talking to her and whatever, I went back to my seat and I just kneeled before God. I just started crying because seeing people that young in bondage, first of all, breaks my heart. But second, being able to see someone that young also feel the power of God so strong for the first time also impacted me so much. So being in this ministry was super beneficial and had so much purpose, and I would never take it back for anything. Just seeing the lives changed and also just seeing how much I've changed as well. This next question, I'm kind of nervous. It's about to get real. This question came from someone very, very dear to my heart. They're really asking the realest questions out there that you could possibly ask. I guess I'm just gonna have to, get into it and stop beating around the bush, if you will. How many times have you showered since you've been traveling in ministry? Ooh, guys. I don't think I can give that information out. I don't think I can. I don't think so. I'm just kidding, y'all. No, but for real, I will talk about what it was like living on the road, just day to day. Sometimes not even going to a hotel or anything, just going straight to the next place. That only happened a couple times, but there was this one time that we legit checked into a hotel for 30 minutes. We literally unpacked every single suitcase from the U-Haul, checked into the hotel, showered real quick, came right back down and left. I'm telling you, traveling on the road every day was just something crazy. And sometimes you'd have to not shower. Sometimes you would not even be able to brush your teeth, doing your routine, honestly, in the church bathroom. When we traveled to South Africa, bro, that was the worst for me because I packed all my toiletries in my big suitcase, and that's the one that was the checked bag, so I never had it with me. It was always under the plane. So for real, I didn't brush my teeth probably in 2-3 days. Not even kidding. It was bad. It was really, really bad. Okay, now to the actual real question. Question 4. When did you first get called into ministry? This one kind of goes along with the first one. And so like I said earlier, I think it was probably around January of 2023, so last year, when God truly answered my prayer on what I was supposed to be doing with my life and where He wanted to take me in that season. I just held on to what He said until He opened the door for me, and I just kept trusting and trusting, letting Him take control until that door was open and I was allowed and able and given the opportunity to travel with EJM and be under them for a while. And honestly, it was the best thing ever. That was that question. That first one was a joke, okay, please. But yeah, on to the next. Question 5. Will you do anything besides ministry in the future? My upper lip is sweating so bad. It's not even funny. So actually, me and my sisters, I think, were talking about this yesterday. And when I really think about the grand scheme of things, I really don't see myself doing anything full-time that's not ministry. I truly believe that God has called me to that. Now, I don't know what that's really going to look like in the future. I don't know exactly what my ministry will be, but I know for sure I'm going to be doing ministry some way, somehow, somewhere. Of course, I want to continue my YouTube videos. I want to continue creating videos and just expanding and creating and doing stuff like that. But as far as ministry, I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. But again, I really don't know. Traveling this year with EJM, that to me was like, wow. Like, I truly enjoy this. I love doing this. Like, there was never a time where I was like, I can't, like, this is not for me. Because trust me, I would not have been there if it wasn't. There was just such a security and such a peace when I joined and whenever I was just in the team, because I just knew that it was something that the Lord opened the door for me to go into, and also because it was his plan for me, you know. I really don't see myself doing anything else. TBH, I'm pretty sure, and I hope and pray that the Lord allows my platform, if you will, grow to a point where there's an audience that is consistently here and that I can share what I'm learning and what the Lord is speaking to me and stuff like that. Like, I just want for there to be a community that I can speak to, that we can relate with, that we can all share, you know, what God is doing and all that stuff. Maybe videos will be a form of ministry and will be a form of, you know, ministering to people and telling people about God, because, you know, I've always loved videos and stuff, but if I could use that to glorify God, of course I'm going to do it, you know what I mean? And so if the Lord wants to expand that and truly send it forward, you know, by all means. But again, it's, you know, it's all up to the Lord, and, you know, I'm believing and trusting, and I know that, you know, my steps are ordered by the Lord, and I know that he directs, you know, me, and so I'm not worried one bit. To answer the question, I really don't think I'm gonna do something that's not ministry in my future. I truly believe I'm gonna go like a untraditional route. I've already done that anyway, like after graduating and going to the full-time ministry and all that stuff, like that in itself was already like crazy. I don't see myself doing like a 9-to-5 job or like working for someone in like the traditional way. I don't know, like that's the thing. I really don't know, but I have a feeling that it's gonna be full-time ministry, TBH. If I'm being quite honest with you. On to the next question. Question 6. What are some assumptions you had going into ministry full-time? Just for backstory, before I joined the team that I was with, I actually had been going to their services for a couple months, and I would just see them every week and, you know, how they operated and how they did services and all that stuff, right? Because I wasn't with them every single day, every hour of every day, I didn't really know the ins and outs of what being in full-time ministry meant. But once I joined the team full-time, I quickly realized just how many misconceptions I actually had about what being in full-time ministry was. So one idea I had in my head was just that everybody was perfect, that people didn't have problems, that, you know, once you're in ministry, like, you're fine. But I quickly realized that people are still going through things. People are still experiencing freedom in the Lord and are still learning to walk with Christ every single day, regardless of having, you know, given your life to Jesus already. I realized that there were just people on the team, including myself, that weren't completely fine, that weren't 100% good just because they were in ministry. You know, like, we still had problems, we still had things that we had to overcome. Another thing I had in my head was just that it was going to be so easy, so simple, but in reality, full-time ministry takes time and energy and strength and just a lot out of you, and it really is a sacrifice that not everybody is made for, that not everybody can handle. Thankfully, the Lord gave me the grace to be able to withstand all that we had to do and be able to go through all those restless nights and the traveling and the lack of good food and the lack of sleep and just being tired and all that stuff. But even through all of that, it was still worth it to me. But before I joined the team, I didn't even know the reality of what it meant to be in full-time ministry, but also traveling full-time, because that's a whole different thing. The big thing though is just the people on the team and how I thought that everybody was fine, everybody was good, that people weren't going through things just because they were, you know, already following Jesus. But honestly, Being in full-time ministry doesn't mean that our problems are automatically solved, or even that following Jesus automatically erases every single problem. It's not true. So that was one thing that I had to learn and realized quickly that wasn't true about what being in full-time ministry was. That's that question. Now on to the next. Question 7. What moment marked you in full-time ministry? The moment that really marked me was when I first joined, actually. So just for backstory, we had just begun these deliverance training classes when I first joined, and I'm pretty sure I joined whenever they were on day 2 of the lessons and the teachings and everything. Literally every time I think back to when I joined the team, I would say that it was those moments that marked me so much, because we went through such intense moments of repentance and prayer and seeking God. We would all be together in the room, but each one of us, kind of seeking God on our own, right? But it was those moments that every time I think back to it, I'm just like, wow. Like, you can't explain the atmosphere and the presence that was in that room unless you were there. I can't talk to anybody about it, and I could never explain fully what we experienced unless you were also there with us. Those moments really marked me. And I would say another moment was the night that I got delivered from anger and bitterness and unforgiveness, because it's just something that I always remember and always think back to, just because of the freedom that I felt and experienced that night and that moment where I was finally being delivered from these burdens, from these chains, from these strongholds that had me for so long. I would say that those two are just a couple of the many that I could bring up. But yeah, now that all those questions are answered, I hope you guys know a little bit more about what it was like for me to be in full-time ministry. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I thank God every single day.